It's a beautiful Sunday morning, and one thing that Mara and I started doing when everything was like closed down for COVID stuff is going on Sunday drives. What is up, guys? It is the next day. It's Monday morning, and I'm heading over to the shop. I have a ton I gotta do today, so enjoy what I'm going to film because it's all gonna be amazing stuff. This is the tricky panel. Jack spent a bunch of time making this piece, which is on the table over there, and now it's finally being cut out so he can fit it. Are you excited, Jack?
Not really.
You're not excited again?
We're gonna see how good it fits.
Yeah, well. So if you look, the corners are rounded. That's a pretty good way to do things because then you don't have a corner where there's a weld.
It's easier to planish it out, less distortion you gotta worry about. It's not impossible to do it with a sharp corner, it just makes it a little bit easier to weld it so it's not just like a heat soak right in the corner.
And that's why. Jack was just saying there's a bunch of bracing under this piece, like the hood. There's bracing for the hood that's over here, right here. And then the inner fender liner, is that what it is? Kind of goes like that?
The inner fender kind of goes like this. So there's a gasket that goes between these two panels. Nothing is attached to this panel. It's just when you go to cut it out, you got to be careful not to cut into it. So I gotta double check before I cut and not cut too deep, that kind of thing.
All right, get in there with a body saw that's 6 inches long and just fucking hack that shit out.
Yeah, that, and I gotta be careful not to distort the edge. I don't like welding on corners of sheet metal because welding is gonna cause the area to shrink. So by staying away from the corner, that will prevent the corner from shrinking, and hopefully I'll have enough room in here that I can planish out any distortion that happens afterwards.
Then he'll be able to metal finish everything and make it look how this panel looks, which looks great, by the way. You just can't see it because it's underneath this.
Yeah, this is so I don't scratch that up.
Nice.
Even though it's gonna get DA'd with 80 grit anyway, but
it's just nice to have like polished metal. It looks like a piece of jewelry.
He just does this without warning. I'm just back here minding my own business. The next thing you know, I'm going deaf.
The car is like a sound, is like an amplifier.
yeah, power.
funny, that piece looks exactly like this piece. What's that?
If there's not gonna go in there, just
It's gonna drop right in. You don't even have to trim anything.
Ah, fuck.
I think so.
Spark on your thumb?
Huh? Yeah, I got me right here. Ta-da.
That's the right in the gooch.
That's the poop. Oh no, there's 2 burn marks because it went right there. That's how that works.
No gloves? That happens then.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's fine.
Always on these TV shows, I would see, it was always this like stressful thing, like, we don't have the parts, we gotta get it done, the customer's coming to pick it up. And what happens is, I always sit there and go, that's bullshit. Places don't operate like that, that's crazy. Nobody stresses over the parts. You know what? They do stress over the parts. I stress over the parts. I never stressed over the parts when I was working as a fabricator at a hot rod shop. I gotta sneeze, hang on. Excuse me. Anyways, yeah, I never stressed over the parts when I was working in the shop. But now that it's my shop, the parts are something I stress over constantly. And especially with all the crazy crap that the world is going through right now, there's no parts available. So you call up and you say, hey, I need an LS3. And they say, yeah, get in line. And that's not a really good feeling. And then you're kind of like, all right, well, if you're not gonna do an LS3, what else are you gonna do? And then you have to like figure out what's available. And that might completely change the whole, I don't know, thought process or the whole plan of what you intended to do. So that's kind of it. I'm kind of rambling, just trying to make the video longer than 30 seconds. But honestly, I love it. I couldn't be happier. I love what I do. I love my shop. I love the dudes that work at the shop. We have a great thing. It's honestly super special. I'm definitely a blessed guy to be doing what I'm doing. However, I miss working on cars, and I'm gonna try my best to do something about that. And it's not like I can just hire some office person, because at the end of the day, you know, clients don't want to talk to the office person. They want to talk to me. And that's who I talk to, is I talk to customers all day long about whatever the different things that we're doing in the different stages of their build. And then I spend a bunch of time figuring out what we need to get. So the other part of the job is saying, all right, we need this part, you know, we need this. And then you find out that they don't have this. So you have to figure out what's the next thing. Like, excuse me? You have to figure out what else you can use to make do. But it also can't be like an afterthought, you know what I mean? It has to be, you know, you can do it a few different ways, but it needs to be, you know, it just needs to work together. And that's not a job for somebody who doesn't really know what they're doing. And there's not a lot of people out there that can like make those decisions to say, all right, well, whatever, we need it's with most of all of what we do, it's not a call up the parts store and say, I need a master cylinder for a 1998 Honda Accord. And then they say, all right, cool, we'll send one right down to you. It doesn't work that way. It's always like, all right, we need a whatever, a 1-inch bore master cylinder, and it has to have, you know, 3/24 outputs for the tube nuts, or like an inverted flare coming out of it. But it needs to come out of the right side of it, or it needs to come out of the left side of it, or whatever. And then you find out that they don't have that in stock. So then you have to kind of go through and figure out, all right, Is it a master cylinder for some Corvette, or is it a master cylinder for some Camaro, or is it a master cylinder for something completely different? And it's just a matter of like knowing the different stuff and what's close, because sometimes it's like, you know, I mean, we just ran into this the other day. Timmy needed an O2 sensor for his Y-band, which is, you know, it's like a Bosch part number or whatever. So the part number that Haltech recommends is, there's a bunch of the same exact thing. They just have different length leads on them. So the number that Haltech says, this is what you need, and then you call and they say, we don't have that in stock, you need to say, oh, all right, well, this same exact thing is this, it's the same O2 sensor, it just has a shorter wire on it, and will that work? So that's like a good analogy of like what we have to deal with all the time. It's never cut and dry. Because if you call up and you say, all right, Haltech says I need this sensor, and then they don't have it, then, or you have to wait for it or whatever, then you're like twiddling your thumbs for a couple of days until it shows up from wherever the heck it has to come from. Where like if you know what you're doing, or if you know to talk to the right people at the parts places or whatever, they'll say, nope, same sensor, shorter wire, will that work in your application? And then boom, you were able to like move forward. And that is like the majority of everything I do all day long. Again, I love it, and I don't know, I don't mind doing this part of it, but it's I don't know, I just feel like I was in the office all day today, and I worked on my car for about 2 minutes, and then my friend Mike called and said, hey, I'm in your basement and I'm out of wire nuts. And I'm like, well, go to Home Depot. And he's like, well, I can't go to Home Depot for whatever reason. So I'm running home to give him some wire nuts. Anyways, guys, if you have any comments, put them in the comments. If you have anything that you think, if you want to work at 1945, let me know. Get in touch with me. We have, there's always job openings. Matter of fact, we're looking for another guy for the body shop. Actually looking for another guy, like another mechanic type guy as well. So, or 2 or 3 or whatever. Like, I mean, we have more work than we know what to do with. And, you know, it's just finding the right people also difficult. I have a great team right now. The guys in the shop are amazing. I can't say anything more other than they are awesome. And I'm so lucky to have them. I just need, you know, 5 more of everybody. And then we could, you know, be really rocking and rolling. So if you have an idea of what you're doing, I'm not looking to hire somebody as an apprentice, or I'm not looking for somebody that wants to learn. That's not it at all. I want a professional that knows how to do what they knows how to do it. Get in touch with me, because we're definitely hiring. It's taken me 15 minutes. It takes me 15 minutes to drive home, and I'm almost home. So I've been rambling for probably more than almost 15 minutes. So hit the like button. That's the thumbs up. Like I said, if you have any questions or comments, put them down in the comments. And if you're not subscribing to the channel, please do so. I love you all. Have a good night.